Good morning, children. How are you? Hope you are doing well. Today, let us take up the poem The Duck and the Kangaroo of Class 9th, Unit 1. The poem Duck and the Kangaroo is going to be taken up by Padmavathi Rainikindi, School Assistant English, working for Government High School Girls, Kazipet. Now, you are able to see two pictures on the screen. Am I right? Now, the first picture is animals that live in India and the second one is the animals that live in Australia. The animals that live in India you are very familiar with. They are called wild animals, the animals that we see in the picture. Similarly, there are animals that live in Australia. They are called Australian animals. In the picture, at the end, you are able to see an animal called kangaroo. Today's poem is about the kind kangaroo, the duck and the kangaroo. Let's go on. Now, let's take up the poem of Edward Lear's The Duck and the Kangaroo. Now, children, are you able to see the two animals in the picture? The kangaroo and the duck. The animal you look in the picture is a kangaroo, as you know. It is an Australian animal, that is, it's a native of Australia. It is called a marsupial. Look, children, it has muscular hind legs. And the wonderful thing is, it has a muscular tail. It has short fur on its body and long pointed ears. It's a very interesting animal. And the more wonderful thing is, it can't walk backwards. And it has a quality to hop and jump. That amazing quality made the duck to request the kangaroo for a ride. The bird you look in the picture is a duck. You all know that. The ducks are the birds that are also called waterfowls. They are commonly found in ponds, lakes, and all other kind of water bodies. They have strong bills. Bill is nothing but a beak, and webbed feet. Webbed feet makes duck swim in water. It's also called as paddling. Now let me read out stanza 1 of the poem The Duck and the Kangaroo. Said the duck to the kangaroo, good gracious how you hop over the fields and the water too, as if you never would stop. My life is a bore in this nasty pond. I long to go out in the world beyond. I wish I could hop like you, said the duck to the kangaroo. Now, you are able to look at the two words in the picture. They are gracious. The meaning of that word is kind and pleasant. Next is nasty, very bad or unpleasant. The following two slides will show you the gracious kangaroo and what is nasty. The meaning of the word gracious is kind. Look at the kangaroo, children. The looks of the kangaroo are very gracious. So, we call the kangaroo as a kind kangaroo. Since the kangaroo accepted the request of the duck, we also call it as a kind kangaroo. The boy in the picture gestures that the smell is bad. That bad smelling or unpleasant smell is called a nasty smell. Now learners, you are able to see the picture of a duck and a kangaroo. See how the duck is appealing to the kangaroo about its life, which is very boring in the nasty pond. What is a nasty pond, Nana? The pond where we get bad smell, a stench that is very unpleasant. So it is appealing to the kangaroo that its life is very boring in this nasty pond. And see the kangaroo, how gracious it is. It's listening to the sorrow of the duck. What could be the appeal made by the duck? It wanted to go around the world along with the kangaroo, isn't it? Now children, who are the two characters you noticed while I was reading the poem? Obviously, you could answer the two characters were the duck and the kangaroo. Now, did the duck feel bored in the nasty pond? My life is bored. My life is a bore in this nasty pond. This sentence tells us the duck was really feeling bored in the nasty pond. Moreover, nasty connotates a negative meaning. That is, the duck was feeling bored in that pond which was giving a kind of bad stench. And the next question is, what was the wish of the duck? I think you could also feel the duck wanted to go around the world. But children, since the duck cannot go around the world, it made a request to the kangaroo that it wanted to go around the world. Now from the discussion, the duck wanted to go around the world. Do you agree? Obviously, all the learners could answer that it was yes. I wish I could hop like you. Is I the duck or the kangaroo? You might have guessed the answer as duck, and obviously it is the correct answer. It is because, children, kangaroo can hop and run, but a duck can't. So I wish I could hop like you tells that the duck cannot hop like a kangaroo. So it wanted to take a ride, and that wish of the ride, it is appealing to the kangaroo. Am I right? Yes. So now let us go to stanza 2. Now, do you think the kangaroo agreed to take a ride? Obviously, you might think that the kangaroo might have agreed to take a ride. Let us see in the following stanzas whether kangaroo agreed to take a ride. If you were the kangaroo, would you take the duck for a ride? Let's discuss. Think over, and when we meet in the next class, you could give your answer. Let me read out stanza 2. please give me a ride on your back, said the duck to the kangaroo. I would sit quite still and say nothing but quack the whole of the long day through. And we would go to the dee and the jelly bully, over the land and over the sea. Please take me a ride, oh do, said the duck to the kangaroo. Let me read stanza 2 once again. Please give me a ride on your back, said the duck to the kangaroo. I would sit quite still and say nothing but quack the whole of the long day through. And we would go to the dee and the jelly bully, over the land and over the sea. Please take me a ride, oh do, said the duck to the kangaroo. Now, let's look at the vocabulary, the difficult words from stanza 2. What is ride? Ride is being carried. What is still? Not moving or making a sound. V apostrophe D, which we consider as a contraction, can be expanded as we would. D and the jelly bully is an imaginary place, which is created by Edward Lear in his poem The Duck and the Kangaroo. Dear children, you are able to see the picture of the duck and the kangaroo once again. See how the duck is making a request with the kangaroo. It's making a request for a ride on its back, and it is also promising that it would sit quite still. That is, it would not move to balance itself on its body. Whose body, Nana? On kangaroo's body. It would not disturb while the kangaroo is hopping. The sound made by the duck is a quack. It is saying that it would sit constantly at one place, not disturbing its ride, and also just saying a quack. The duck is also making a request, making a promise that it would sit still like that for the whole long day, till they go to the dee and the jelly bully. To reach the dee and the jelly bully, they have to go over the land and over the sea, and that is the capability of the kangaroo. The sentence, please take me a ride, oh do, said the duck to the kangaroo. This final line in stanza 2 tells that it was longing for a ride with the kangaroo. So the word please tells how the duck is submitting to the kangaroo for a ride. No? Isn't it, Nana? Yes. So, similarly, in our life also, whenever we make a request, we try to promise our friend something. Isn't it? Let's understand stanza 2. What was the promise made by the duck? The duck promised only to say a quack. It also promised that it would sit quite still. That is, it would not move or disturb the kangaroo. How long did the duck promise to sit like that? All through the day. That is, the whole of the long day through. It also promised that till they reach their destination, that is the imaginary place, that is the dee and the jelly bully, the duck made a promise that it would sit quite still on the kangaroo's back. Did the kangaroo listen to the duck's request? Yes, the kangaroo listened to the duck's request. The duck wanted to go to the D and the jelly bolly. Do you agree? Yes, you could have agreed. It is because the whole of the long day through and we would go to the D and the jelly bolly. These two lines of stanza 2 make us agree that the duck wanted to go to the D and the jelly bolly. Yes? Yeah. Now, let's go to stanza 3. Said the kangaroo to the duck, "This requires some little reflection. Perhaps on the whole it might bring me luck. And there seems but one objection, which is, if you will let me speak so bold, your feet are unpleasantly wet and cold, and will probably give me the rheumatis," said the kangaroo. Now, dear children, let's listen to stanza 3 once again. Said the kangaroo to the duck, "This requires some little reflection. Perhaps on the whole it might bring me luck. And there seems but one objection, which is, if you let me speak so bold, your feet are unpleasantly wet and cold, and would probably give me the rheumatis," said the kangaroo. Now, let's look at the meaning of certain words. Bold is frank. Next, reflection is a thought, framing an idea basing on the circumstances. Objection, when we don't agree, we call it as an objection. Unpleasant is discomfort. That means we don't feel comfortable. Something is going wrong. Rheumatis, a disease that makes the muscles and joints painful. Let's discuss these questions for a better understanding of stanza 3. At first, did the kangaroo listen to the duck's request? This requires some little reflection. This line of stanza 3 makes us understand that kangaroo wanted to think over the request made by the duck. What was the request made by the duck, Nana? The duck, which was making a request about its life, which was boring in the nasty pond, and it also wanted to go round the world along with the kangaroo, was the request made by the duck, isn't it? The kangaroo reacted to the duck. How? Is the next question. Obviously, the kangaroo thought about a few things when it wanted to take the duck on its back. What are they? It doesn't want to disappoint the duck. It is just like this. When you make a request to your friend doesn't want to disappoint you sometimes. Similarly, here the kangaroo doesn't want to disappoint the duck. So, it told about its feet, which are wet and cold. Although it is interested, it was afraid of the duck's cold feet. This is how the kangaroo reacted to the duck. Was the kangaroo interested to carry the duck? Is the next question. It was interested, but it was afraid of the rheumatis. The next question is, the kangaroo was afraid of something. What was it? Yeah, it was afraid of the rheumatis. What is rheumatis? We came to know that is the pain in the muscles and joints. How do we get rheumatis? Because of the ducks. Because usually rheumatis is a pain caused in muscles and joints whenever it is very cold. Since the feet of the duck are very cold and wet, the kangaroo was afraid of rheumatis. The feet of the duck were very cold. Do you agree? The line, your feet are unpleasantly wet and cold and probably would give me the rheumatis. These two lines of stanza 3 makes us understand that the feet of the duck were very cold. Moreover, in first stanza we came to know that the duck lived in a pond, that too a nasty pond, and it had webbed feet. We came to know in the introduction. So all these tell us the feet of the duck were very cold. So you might have agreed now that the feet of the duck were very cold and kangaroo was afraid of the rheumatis. Am I right? Yeah. Once again, let's have the view of the answers of the questions which we have discussed earlier. That was about, did the kangaroo agree to the duck's request? Yes, the kangaroo agreed to the duck's request. Did the kangaroo think about the duck's request? Was another question. Yes, the kangaroo wanted to think about the duck's request. Was the kangaroo willing to carry the duck? The kangaroo was willing to carry the duck. The kangaroo was afraid of something. What was it? It was afraid of the rheumatis, that is the pain in the limbs and joints. Why was the kangaroo afraid of rheumatis? It is because the feet of the duck were cold, since it always paddles in water and nasty pond. I hope you got a better understanding of stanza 3. Similarly, Nana, whenever somebody makes a request, we have to make a reflection just like the kangaroo. Then, if we have any objection or if we have any unpleasant or anything that you cannot agree with, you have to discuss very boldly just like the kangaroo, so that both of you friends can resolve or fix the problem. Let's go to stanza 4. Said the duck as I sat on the rocks, I have thought over that completely, and I bought a 4 pair of worsted socks which fit my web feet neatly, and to keep out the cold I have bought a cloak, and every day a cigar I will smoke, all to follow my own dear true love of a kangaroo. Let's look at stanza 4 once again. Said the duck, as I sat on the rocks, I have thought over that completely, and I bought 4 pairs of worsted socks which fit my web feet neatly. And to keep out the cold, I have bought a cloak, and every day a cigar I will smoke, all to follow my own dear true love of a kangaroo. Now let us look at some important words. Worsted socks are woolen socks. Cloak is a coat. Cigar, roll of tobacco. Love of deer, love of a kangaroo. In my further slides, I'll show you the pictures of what worsted socks are, cloak and a cigar. Let us see, children. As I told you, this is a picture of a cloak, and a rolled tobacco is called a cigar. These are the things the duck promised that it is going to wear during its ride with the kangaroo. That is, it is going to wear a coat and a cigar in its mouth, and it is going to wear worsted socks for its feet to get rid of the cold, not only for the duck but also for the kangaroo, since kangaroo was afraid of the rheumatis that is going to be caused by the duck's wet feet. This is the picture of worsted socks. The duck promised to wear for its wet feet. Now let's understand stanza 4. The kangaroo raised its objection about the duck's web feet and also its cold feet. The duck sat on a rock and thought over the objection raised by the kangaroo. Isn't it? Yes. The duck resolved the problem since it had a pride to travel round the world on kangaroo's back. How did the duck resolve the problem? I bought 4 pairs of worsted socks to fit my web feet. At first, the duck bought a pair of worsted socks. And what are worsted socks? You have just seen in the picture. Not only worsted socks, it bought a cloak. A cloak is a coat which makes oneself warm. It not only bought a cloak and worsted socks, it also bought a cigar to smoke. All these things obviously make the duck warm, so that the kangaroo would be very comfortable on the journey to take the duck around the world. The duck thought about all these things sitting on the rock, about the objection raised by the kangaroo. And all to follow my own dear too, all to follow my own dear true love of a kangaroo. The duck also was very much interested in the friendship, the love and extension, the love and affection extended by the kangaroo. See how the two friends resolved the issue. So what is that we learn from this poem? Whenever there is a problem between two friends, see how duck and kangaroo resolved itself. You should also resolve the issue very politely and peacefully in your life. You see, the duck was amazed to see the magnificent hop of the kangaroo. It was very much delighted to see how the kangaroo hops with its hind legs, muscular tail. So the duck thought that it wanted to take a ride with the help of the kangaroo. Now let's discuss these questions. The duck thought to bring worsted socks to comfort the kangaroo. Do you agree? Yeah. And I bought 4 pairs of worsted socks which fit my web feet neatly. This line in the stanza tells that the duck promised to wear worsted socks so that the duck as well as the kangaroo are comfortable. The socks were not good for the duck. I think your answer would be obviously no. Yeah, because the socks were very comfortable and the socks made them get rid of cold. The duck bought a cloak to get rid of the cold, isn't it? Yes, the duck bought to wear a cloak to get rid of a cold. Similarly, the duck also bought a cloak to get rid of the cold. And this cloak, socks and a cigar are the things used by the duck to make the kangaroo comfortable, and the duck was also comfortable on their journey round the world. Let's look at stanza 5. Said the kangaroo, I am ready, all in the moonlight pale, but to balance me well, dear duck, sit steady and quiet at the end of my tail. So away they went with a hop and a bound, and they hopped the whole world 3 times round. And who so happy, oh who, as the duck and the kangaroo? Let me repeat stanza 5. Said the kangaroo, I am ready, all in the moonlight pale, but to balance me well, dear duck, sit steady and quiet at the end of my tail. So away they went with a hop and a bound, and they hopped the whole world 3 times round. And who so happy, oh who, as the duck and the kangaroo? Now, if we look at these 2 words, study meaning is constant. Hop and a bound is an act of leaping into the air or jump. We have been talking about the magnificent feature of the kangaroo, that it can hop and bound. So that feature amazed the duck, and it wanted to take a ride. Now finally, as you can see the picture, both kangaroo and the duck are in their journey around the world. Isn't it very fantastic that the duck was wearing a cloak, a socks, and had a cigar in its mouth, and the kangaroo and the duck really resolved their problem, and both of them are happy on their journey. And kangaroo was really comfortable about the duck sitting on its tail, and both of them have been friends on their journey. And this is the duck and the kangaroo. Really, it's a very fantastic poem we have enjoyed, which is written by Edward Lear. Now let's discuss stanza 5. Was the kangaroo ready to take the duck? Your answer could be yes. Yes, the kangaroo was ready to take the duck after a little reflection, and the duck bought socks, cigar and cloak with which the kangaroo was ready to take the duck. Did the duck sit at the end of the tail? Yes, we have seen the picture just now where the duck was sitting at the end of the tail with a cigar in the mouth, wearing a cloak and worsted socks. How many times did they go round the world, Nana? They went round the world 3 times. How do you know that? And they hopped the whole world 3 times round. This line of stanza 5 tells that they went round the world 3 times. Who were very happy in the end? Yes, obviously, the duck and the kangaroo were very happy in the end. Now, you might have enjoyed the poem a lot. Still, we'll try to revise through these pictures what we have learnt in different stanzas. Look at the picture. The duck is appealing to the kangaroo that its life is very boring in this nasty pond, and it wanted a ride on its back. It was admiring the feature of kangaroo, that it can hop. That is in stanza 1. I would sit still and only say quack. We would go to the D and the jelly bully over the land and over the sea. This was the promise made by the duck in stanza 2, that it would not disturb the kangaroo and only say quack, so that both of them would go to the D and the jelly bully and over the land and over the sea. But the kangaroo thought over the duck's wish. It says, I have one objection. It reflected on the wish of the duck and says that it has one objection. What is the objection? Your feet are wet and unpleasantly cold. It might give me the rheumatis. Now you see the last stanza, how both of them were happy. You see the duck smoking a cigar, sitting on the tail of the kangaroo. I'm ready, but to balance well, sit steady, dear duck, at the end of my tail. So that kangaroo told the duck that to sit steady and so that it could balance the duck well and take it round the world 3 times. Isn't it, children? So away they went with a hop and a bound, and they hopped the whole world 3 times round. And who so happy, oh who, as the duck and the kangaroo.